Welcome to an episode of A World Made of Cardboard Assembles. Today I'm going to actually assemble two different foam board models. Now, this is my first video for 2026. I was hoping to have something else out before now, but ran into some issues with time and just general things. This channel is a hobby channel for me. It's not my basic form of doing anything. So I was working on other things with my hobby and realized I hadn't put out a video yet. So today what I'm going to do is look at these two kits. These are foam board kits. The first one is the Marvel Avengers Quinjet. Now this came out about the time, if I remember right, about the time at I think Age of Ultron. The vehicle looks nothing like any of the Quinjets from the movie, but it just is a generic little vehicle. It's going to have a couple little figures that come with it, or shaped figures, or cardstock on foam board figures that you can stick in the wings. Looks a little weird, but it works. And I want to try to assemble this. I got this at Dollar Tree. In fact, when I was looking for information of who made this, it just says Greenbrier International, which is the owners of Dollar Tree. So this thing cost, if I remember right at that time, it was $1. So it's a very inexpensive little kit, but it's probably kind of fun to make. The other one came out about the time of the Force Awakens, and it is Poe Dameron's X-Wing fighter. It is by Disney, and it has a little booklet in it that describes everything, the instructions, and even gives some information about the entire Force Awakens universe, and it works pretty well. This came out in copyright 2018, so this is after the Force Awakens, if I remember right. This book was sold, it says here, I bought this at Ollie's, so it shows you how well this sold. This was selling for $10, so this was supposed to be a more expensive kit. So here we have a low dollar kit and a high dollar kit. So let's see what happens when we try to put these together. I'm going to start off with the Avengers Quinjet. Now, one thing that's interesting, when I opened this kit up, I discovered something. To my horror, and well, maybe not, that's it. There are no instructions on how this thing is to go together, period. No instructions at all. I don't know if the box was open and it fell out, or if what happened, but there are no instructions for it. So what I'm going to have to do is literally look at the package and see how this thing goes together. So first, let's start off. All right. Okay, this looks like this lower part down here. This is so absurd that I'm having to literally hunt for the pieces and figure out how it goes together. I'm going to use my little device here to punch out the little holes. Now I will say this is for $1 or even $1.25. This probably was made for $1, because I don't see any copyright date on any of this, so it's probably before the price change at Dollar Tree. It's pretty substantial. I'm kind of impressed here. These things tabs are kind of tough to push out. And we're also going to see how long it takes to assemble this thing. Yeah, that goes together. But which way? I'm going to assume it goes together like that. I'm going to try to keep the curvature of the cards, see how it's kind of bent like that? I think it's just from age. We'll try to keep that going the same direction too. Alright, well there's that. Alright, next. Okay, this looks like the side here. As you see, it's got the little circle parts there on it. You know, if you're going to make a foam board kit, or any type of kit, try to put instructions with it. This is going to be... Alright, I'm assuming that goes together like that. Alright, that actually went together quite easily. I was expecting a little more complex of a thing there. Okay, so let's see here. What's next? I'll be honest with you, I've never had a kit where I had no idea what came where and how. Alright. One thing that's a little disturbing, I don't see where these darker gray parts, I'm assuming this is the afterburner down here, but I am not sure yet where that goes. So let's just keep going. All right. I'm using the device I use to emboss my paper models. It's just a dried ink pen. You can get an embossing tool. I have one. I have a bunch really, but I grew up using a dried up ink pen, so I've just gone back to using that. Okay. So, ooh, I just saw something. These, right here. Alright. Fit in right there. Okay, that was painless. Bend that down a little bit. So far, so good. I really wish I knew where those parts go. That is so absurd. I don't know where those go. Unless, ooh, okay, hold on. Hold on. All right, this has to be like the thrusters on the back of the thing. But this is a little more complicated than that. All right, so Alright, that doesn't want to tear out. There we go. Alright, I think I see what's going on here. Emphasize, think I see what's going on. They've made the engine as its own little block out of multiple pieces. And I will say this, that is a really thin piece of foam right there. That is really thin. I don't know if you can see that in the camera, but that is not even a 1/16 of an inch thick. That is really thin. Yeah, this is definitely built more like a puzzle than anything else, where you got to figure it out yourself. And they gave no pictures of the back of this thing anywhere on this box at all. There are no pictures of the back of this thing at all, so I'm taking a guess here. And then, yes, that's it. Okay, so that's what they decided to do for this, was make the engines just kind of be one separate piece all to themselves and fit on the back like that. Alright, I will say that that's not how I would have done it, but hey, it works. Now this thing was sold, like I said, a long time ago. I do not have a copyright date on this box at all. See Cardinal down here. Looks like that's the name of the company that made this for Greenbrier distribution, distributed by Greenbrier International. But that works. One thing they were saying is this thing is about 8.5 inches wide on the wingspan, and it came in a box of definitely smaller than 8 inches. I was like, okay, so you got to assemble the wings somehow. Alright, that is kind of cool. That is a neat little design right there. Alright. Alright. They have a little figure of Iron Man and a little figure of the Hulk here that go into these slots on the wings. I'm not going to put those on. I just don't like the idea of someone riding on the wings, so I'm not even going to bother popping those out. And it looks like it's a forward swept wing slightly. That's not bad. That's not bad at all. I have no idea why they made the tails point inward like that, but okay. And there it is, minus the characters sitting on the wings. Kind of a boxy looking jet from the side, but not a bad looking little model. It took every bit of about 15 minutes to, well, less than 15 minutes to put together, because I talked for a little bit at the beginning of this video, and we assembled it in real time. So that's the first little kit. So let's take a look at the next one, the X-Wing fighter. Okay, here we have the X-Wing fighter from the Disney version of Star Wars. Now, this is has a little booklet that gives the instructions on how to put it together. It also has information on the other ships and fighters and starships in the Force Awakens. Looks like this is all about the Force Awakens, Starkiller Base, First Order troopers. But let's try it out and let's see what happens here. This comes wrapped in a little piece of cellophane. Alright. I will say this, so far the more expensive version does have some nice information here. And it starts off with the wings and the engines. So here are the wings, I believe, part B. Yep, that's it, part B. Interesting. All of these are identical except they're mirror images of each other. I guess you'll have to figure out how they go together. Then there's a part A here according to this. Ah, there it is. Part A. Oh, that was nice. Ah. Okay. Now we gotta pop out the components here. One thing I'm trying to do is go, as I'm popping it out the parts, I'm making sure I don't push where I could tear the picture that's printed on the device here, on the gadget, on the part. That was a technique that I learned many years ago after tearing up kits like this. You don't want to push it out and have a big tear running down the side of your vehicle, your model. So let's see how this goes now. Alright, this sits right here. this folds completely over. Alright, that has to come out. Wow. Alright. One thing that's different about this kit from the other one, from the other model, this one the folds are actually going where the picture is not split. And what I mean by that, you can see here on this one, on the, when I had to fold the parts, you actually break the cardboard, the cardstock printing apart to have a little big crease there. This one is designed where it won't do that. That is complicated at best, but it works. Sorry about the little noise there. I hit my microphone. Alright, we're going to try to assemble these others here now. That is a little tough. I have to admit, that is a little difficult there to bend. Not impossible, it's a little scary, I can tell you that. There we go. This one didn't want to go together. Two. The creases, the embossing on here is not very pronounced, so it's not exactly folding right on the part where on the crease where it's supposed to, but a little work you can get it to do that. Alright, this is the one thing about the Force Awakens X-Wing fighter that I just thought was kind of awkward, and I just chalked it up. Okay, they're just going to say, oh, it's alien. So it's from a galaxy far, far away. The engine intake is split. That's supposed to be turbines, I guess, but it's split on the wing. I'm guessing it's just an air intake now that looks like turbines. So it doesn't spin. Oh well. Unlike other turbine engines that they had on the Star Wars. Yeah, that's a little tight. Okay. That's down. Make sure all these are down all the way here. I have a feeling that this part's sticking out so far is so it could stick into the wing and actually be a part of the thing that holds the engine onto the wing. So I'm going to try to make sure it's all together just right. Alright, that's the engines. Now, okay, step 2. The wings themselves. Let's see here. Okay. For these parts too. Alright, where do those go? Alright, that's part D, even though it's not. Oh, there it is. It's labeled on this side. Alright, all the wings are labeled C. Every part is just labeled the same. Okay, well, that's nice. This slides in. Alright, that's supposed to be the engine exhaust. Yeah, they're labeled on the back side, so. What's interesting is, though these are labeled C, they are different. If you look at the X-Wing in a Force Awakens, you'll notice that the wings don't lay down flat on top of each other. They actually co-link, I guess you could say, as they fold down, which is rather an interesting concept. But all of these are labeled C, even though they are totally different parts. This is F and E here. These are all the same, except for they are different. But, oops. Alright, so that's it for those 2 pages. Slide you guys off over there. Finish assembling this. I will say this, though it is a tighter fit than the Avengers Quinjet, it's going together and it is staying together quite well. I think that's a good testament to the fact that they made these things with a little bit of quality in mind here. Alright, this is where my little trick of making sure I don't damage the picture is going to be a little more difficult. This thing's printed on both sides, and it's lined up quite well. The Avengers Quinjet was only printed pretty much just on one side to the point. I mean, yeah, there was the wings and stuff, but there was most of it is just there for looks, I guess you could say. So what I'm going to try to do is go with the die cut. There's a little bit of a concave effect where the cutter made the perforation here. So I'm going to go with that as my guide. Alright. Let's F and E go onto the wingtips. Part of the cannons. Which way do they go? Does it say? It goes where the engine will stick up. All right. And it doesn't stick in very does not stick in very hard there. I mean, it's just barely locking in. That's what's happening here. So that's good, because I may have to take these out, because I don't know if I'm putting them in on the right side or not. All right. Looks like what? This makes no sense. All right. There. Okay. Now they're saying the engine goes. They got the engine shaped wrong on this thing. Unless there's something I'm not seeing. All right. Before we go further, I am not seeing how that goes together, because if I put it the way they are showing in this part here, is it supposed to stick out, or is it supposed to go back under? Is that even supposed to be out there? All right, we're gonna have to try that in a minute. Let's get the fuselage going together, and we'll see how that works. I mean, even with the instructions, I think something isn't, either I started putting some together wrong, or something is a little amiss. Okay, but anyway, let's go with the next one. Rear fuselage. Top RF, bottom RF. All right. Okay. Bottom. Yeah, this one's taking a little bit longer than the other model. Yeah. Now they say pop out that one. I'm not going to pop that out because that's got some nice detail on it. I don't think it's necessary. But again, I'm putting together something I have never done before here. All right. Let's see. Oh, that is needed. Wow. Okay. That's an interesting idea. That is a very interesting idea. I don't know why they chose to do that, but okay. That is where these two little parts. This is the back. These have to fold up into there. And that folds down. And then that goes into these little slots here. It would have been good if I put it on the right direction, too. That was not good. All right, we'll try it again. As I put it backwards. That needs to go up like that. Okay. There it is. Now, I see what is going on here. This little tab here needs to lay out flat like that. That's what's happening. I thought that was a part that connected the engine to the wing. No, it slides up into the fuselage. Alright, so let's see what's next. The forward part of the fuselage. Alright. Top. There's the bottom. Right, I see what they were trying to do. They didn't want the fuselage to have those separations in them like the other, like the Quinjet does. Doggone, this is not easy to fold here. I'm really having to fight it in some aspects, especially when it starts getting really close to the corners. All right. It's already even. See, that's what happens when you don't have a good defined area. The laminate's coming off in some points. When you don't have a good defined creasing point in your workup here in your model, that's what happens. Like this one, the paper totally split off. Ah. Okay, that's that part down. That is not a simple design. Yeah, I'll flat out tell you, if I was a little kid trying to put this together, this thing would be hurled across the room by now. Kind of the good synopsis for Disney Star Wars there. All right. There it is. Whoa, that just came undone. There's the fuselage. That is a little overly complicated for this thing, but okay. Now, as I thought, it goes like that. That tab actually is holding the engine on. Almost there, and it's only taken us half an hour to do this one. There it is. Kind of got these in the wrong spot, but figured I would. Put them to where they face outward. At least they made it where they these pop off easily. And there it is. Now it is kind of disoriented a little, but we also have a stand. Why those parts were even needed to be popped out. That's what it does. Has had it blowed up on me. Take these off. Yeah, we're gonna, as I said, this is a no holds barred, as built little thing. I am not cutting corners or anything like that. Well, I try to sometimes. yeah, after I got it together, it all just kind of blew apart. Another good analogy for Disney Star Wars. There it is. And the stand does not want to stand. There we go. And there it is. It works. It is a little more complicated than I was anticipating it to be. A lot more complicated than the Quinjet. It is about the same wingspan, but it is slightly longer than the Quinjet. But in all, oops, it's not a bad design for a paper model. Now I will say this, I enjoyed building this one more than I did this one. This one started to get a little frustrating. So if you do find this one and you want to try to put it together, it may still be in some places. You may find it in Ollie's, that's where I found mine. Try it out, but remember it's a simple build, but it can get a little frustrating in how things go together. This one sold ages ago. I don't know if you'll still be able to find it, but it's a nice little model, makes a nice little jet, works pretty well. And that's all I have for today. Thank you for watching, and have a great day. Happy building.